How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my stream. Is my audio working? I forgot to test it beforehand, because I'm a professional. My name is Guy Royse, and welcome to my stream. How's it going? I'm gonna try. Is it Mario? Is it Mario good enough? Test beforehand. That's right. I know, craziness, right? I mean, this is test-driven streaming, right? Hey, Chad. Hey, Mario. Hey, Norm. How's it going with y'all? Norm was just saying that he missed me. He runs a little, it's growing quite nicely. Meetup that went virtual called Canton Coders, originally based out of Canton, Michigan. And the idea was to kind of have like a local meetup, but then that was like right before COVID hit, so they went virtual and they just been pulling people in from all over the place, and they do a lot of agile stuff, some mobbing and stuff like that. So you should check their stuff out. Norm, if you want to. Nightbot won't let you drop a link in there, but if you well, here, let me just fix that. I'll just op you. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, I'm like a Twitch noob. No, not I don't want to block or report you, Norman. Yeah, Google Canton Coders, exactly. In fact, I will just go there now. So it's a worthwhile thing to check out. They're doing cool stuff. Let's see what wonderful stuff comes up on Google. There we go. Canton Coders. Funny story, when I first heard about Canton Coders, I thought it was Canton, Ohio. I didn't know there was a Canton, Michigan. I'm like, yeah, I could drive up there for a meetup. That'd be fine. And actually, it's not that far from where I live anyhow, so I can still drive up there for meetup. Anyhow, so it's in Michigan, but it's, the rest of the world's welcome to attend as well. So go check out their stuff. So, cool. Let me get back to my code window here. You guys didn't see anything, did you? Because I am not sharing my screen. Let me fix that. There we go. Michigan is above Ohio. That is correct. It's geographically to the north. I haven't been to Canton, Michigan, so I can't. But I have been to Canton, Ohio, and so I can't compare them. But anyhow, that was not intended to be a pun. I realized I said Canton, can't. But hey, So yeah, here's their event. Go check it out. Lots of really cool people there. So tonight we're working on the Evercraft Kata. That's the putting the D&D in TDD. It's code up the brains of Dungeons and Dragons, and see where that takes us. Right. I've got this kata that my buddy George Walters and I put together. I don't know, about a decade ago, and and it's got these iterations, which are not really iterations. They're just chunks of functionality. So we've gotten through iteration 1, which has basic combat and character abilities. We've finished up iteration 2 last stream with classes, and so we've added fighters, rogues, monks, and paladins, and we're ready to do iteration 3. I believe I left the last stream with a little bit of test refactoring, and I have some left to do, but it's not urgent. I'm gonna put that off a little bit. The tests, I'll do what they need to do. They could just be a little bit cleaner. But we'll get to those. I want to add some new functionality, and so the idea is to add player races or species, and we've got humans, orcs, dwarves, elves, and halflings, and a lot of the races in Dungeons and Dragons have come with ability modifiers. So the orcs are very strong, dwarves have a very high constitution, elves are kind of dexterous but a bit frail, etc., etc., etc. And so that is a capability that I may need to play with to be able to do, because if we look at our code, right now the abilities and modifiers, if we look here, it says the ability modifier. But we have a score from 1 to 20. So the ability score of 10 or 11 is average, and there's no bonus, no modifier, positive or negative. 13 and 14 is a +1, a 20 is a +5. And then all the way down to 1, which is a -5. And but we're saying here, if an orc is strong, so they got a +2 to their strength modifier. So their score is 18. Well, let's say their score is 20 to make it easy. That's a +5, and which means it's a +7 for an orc. And so we need to be able to report the modifier differently. And that means we probably need to make the ability smarter, possibly. Or we need to make the hero smarter or something. I'm not exactly sure how I want to tackle this problem yet, which is a great way to come on the stream. Because what we have, if we close all these other windows, we have a hero, and they have a strength, a dex, a con, a wisdom, intelligence, charisma haven't been added yet. And, link to the project. I think a bang git will get that for you. There you go. That's not exactly the link, but it's called Streaming Evercraft. So, but yeah, so that's the this is the code I'm working on. The actual kata itself is out on. I'll go ahead and throw this one in the chat here. If you want to go out and look at the requirements, which would be helpful if you're working on this, they're right there. So, these abilities don't know what they are. This ability here doesn't know its strength. It just happens to be assigned to a strength variable. This ability doesn't know its dexterity. It just happens to be assigned to a dexterity variable. And then if we look inside of ability, all they do is they have a score which you can set and get. And it's got a little bit of validation there. And then you can get the modifier because it's computed. And there's a little function that computes that modifier. So I need to somehow make this go up or down depending on the race of the hero. And one way I could do that is I could pass in the hero to the ability. And I've done this in several other places here. You can see the level, alignment, all those things have the hero. I could pass that in, and then I could look at the hero and say if the hero is this race, then do a thing. But then I also don't know if it's strength or dex. And so then maybe I could pass in a second variable for like strength. Say you are strength. And then it could say, well, since I'm strength, if race is an orc, add this, and if that kind of stuff. But in some ways, I hate this because what that means is that all the code around modifiers for a particular, like for orcs or for dwarves, is going to be spread across the system. And although that's true for classes as well, armor class and hit points have that as well. So that might not be terrible, but it feels like they should be grouped sort of a little bit, kind of. But I don't have a better idea yet. So I think what I'm going to do is go with my bad idea first, see what kind of crappy code I end up with, and then see what better idea I can see. What it's kind of like, you got to throw all the parts out on the table before you can figure out how to sort it out. Like you got a junk drawer that you're sorting out. You take your junk drawer and you dump it out and you spread everything out so you can see it and you start categorizing stuff. Well, I need to dump out the junk drawer first, so I'm going to do that. So, but before I do that, heroes need to be able to have a race in the first place. So let's start there. So we've got, let's look at hero class spec. That would be a good place to base this off of. So the class spec says, describes the hero. We'll create a new hero for each time. Class defaults to none. You can't set it to something invalid. And then there's alignment restrictions here as well. And actually, if we look, there are alignment restrictions for here as well. For halflings can't be evil. We're going to ignore that for now. But we will need to get to do that when we get to halflings. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy pasta this guy here, and then cut out a bunch of code. So there we go, and rename that hero race spec. I don't always reuse code, but when I do, I copy and paste. Right? Describe race. Defaults to human. Humans are the default. That's a very Dungeons and Dragons-y thing. And that's my first test. I've been on a Mac all day, and then I switched to my Windows machine, and I don't know how to do anything. And then let's go ahead and just comment out the rest of this. Actually, let's just delete it. It's just code. We can bring it back easily enough. Save that. Let's get our test up and running. npm test. And we have one failed test, which should be expected human to be undefined. It's like that's an analogy or a metaphor for something, isn't it? Right? That's like a philosophical statement. Human is undefined. Is it an analogy? Is it an analogy or a metaphor? Analogies are like metaphors. Or is it metaphors are like analogies? I can never remember. Okay, so you have a hero. We have this with the hero class. I think I'm going to continue this pattern going forward. I've been using this pattern where we have sort of subdivided the hero. The hero is just a pointer to a bunch of classes, and then it delegates to them. And I want to continue that pattern here. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting some code in here. Let's say set, and I don't have anything asking me for, I keep hitting command left arrow to move the cursor over. You hit control. We don't have anything asking for a setter. So let's just do get race. And for now, let's just do the minimum thing that'll make this work. And we'll return human. And that passes. And now I'm going to refactor this out into the same pattern I'm using with the hero class here. So I'm just going to copy pasta that as well. Okay. I thought I'd lost my original there for a while. I'm like, how did that happen? Okay, so there's our hero race. We'll call this class race. I know I'm going to need the validator sometime soon, but I don't need it today. And do I need a constructor? Do I need the hero? I do not need any of this stuff yet. So let's just get the value of race. We'll have that bit there. Set that to human. And then return this underscore race. And then all of that goes away. Export race. Go into the hero. Const race equals require dot slash hero race. I put class before. Okay, class goes before race, so just to be consistent. Okay. And then now race can return this dot underscore race dot value. And all I've done, I've just delegated this to a little helper class because that's the pattern I'm using for everything else. So consistency. Strictly not the minimum required to make it pass, but it is a refactor to make it more consistent with everything else. So I feel okay about that. So in our race spec, we will compare that to the class spec. We can say it cannot be an invalid class. Is that the next test we want? Or do we want to say it can be a, or Yeah, let's go for the invalid condition first. So I'm just going to copy that over here. Cannot be an invalid race. What's a good invalid race? So we got dwarves, orcs, halflings, humans, ogres. There's a bajillion of them. What's something that wouldn't be a valid race in a D&D game? Let's go with maybe Fluffernutter. That's definitely not a species that you can play in D&D. And of course, spell check doesn't like that. So we'll add it to Workspace Dictionary because why not? And it should say Fluffernutter is not a race. That fails because it, oh, whoops, the dangers of copy pasta. Let's take a look at that again. It failed for the wrong reason. This is why you always check your tests. So here we're expecting to throw something and it didn't. So we need to make it throw a thing. And so in the hero race, hero class, we've got this validate class and alignment that we used before. Is that a good place? Yeah, it probably is. This is where we've done the rest of these race validation. Is this a valid race? Is this a valid alignment? We just need to say validate class, race, and alignment. So let's do that. Let's bring in the validator. There we go. And then the way we did this was in setting the value, which we don't have a setter yet. Set value race here. We'll leave this validate class and alignment for now. Let's see, we're a half-elven fighter, not a fighter half-elven. So we'll go race, class, and alignment. Go this.class. Ah, okay. That's a thing that's missing from over here. I added the get alignment. And then that means we need to pass in the hero. We need to add a get race. No, get class. Ah, wrong key again. So frustrating. This hero.class, this hero.alignment. Okay. So we got the race coming in here. We set that. We still don't have any test saying we need to set it. We have a setter that we call, but the setter needs to fail. So, we don't need that line there. And in fact, it's setting the wrong thing anyhow. We need to pass in the hero here now. Underscore hero equals hero, because we need to look at other attributes on the hero to actually validate all three of these things. And which means that over here, and when we create the race, we need to pass in the hero. And what's our error now? Still just not throwing an exception. So good. We haven't really broken anything yet. Which actually, that's kind of surprising. We don't have a setter yet. So that would do it. Yeah, so let's add the race setter. This dot underscore race dot value equals race. There. That should set it now. That may change our error. May not either. Validate race class and alignment is not a function. That's the error I wanted to see. So if I rename this and pass in race, class, and alignment, then we're going to get failures elsewhere. Oops. Because it's, yeah, that creates all kinds of errors, doesn't it? And that's because, of course, I just changed a function that other things are using. So when we look at like class, for example, it needs to call validate race, class, and alignment, passing in race. This dot race. We'll do our handy little thing like we did here. It's just a little convenience thing. It's a little pattern I've been using in these guys. So I don't have to say this dot underscore hero dot blah 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 blah. Wow. A lot of tests will fail there. So we got the hero, we got the class, the race, and the alignment. The alignment's the other one that's failing here. So pass in race, pass in this dot race. Get race. So then race and class come in there. Okay, back to one failed test. That's good. It's still not throwing the exception we want. So now that we've got all that in place here, so we need to, let's see, we're in the validator, we can, let's make a list of valid races here. Const races equals, and we'll just start with human, because that's the only race that we've done so far. And then in here we can say validate in list races race. And then if it's not, throw an exception. Saying race is not a race. That is still failing. Why is that still failing? It's saying fluffernutter is not a race, or none is not a race. That's interesting. Which test is failing? And here, race spec. That sounds like a copy pasta rogue tile thing. No, it's not. Huh. That's not the error I was expecting. What's going on here, right? Ah. It's in hero race spec. Let's look at hero race. Oh. Wrong order. The test worked. My code was actually wrong. So that is why we test, isn't it? There we go. Huzzah! 11 passed. Sweets, 186 passed tests in total. So we are now validating. Thank you very much, sir. Or ma'am. I assumed. My apologies. Bun dumpling could be anyone. So, well, bun dumpling actually kind of sounds like a nickname I might call my wife. So So, and now I've just dissed your nickname, your online handle. My wife was going to say, "Who are you talking to?" I'm talking to Bun Dumpling. Who's that? Yeah. Okay, so we can actually validate this. They are human is valid, and we can throw in an invalid race. Yeah. Exactly. Don't get too jealous. Let's take a look at. Well, I mean, I think we've met the requirements, right? For humans, you can set a race, and the default's to human. And if you try to set it to something that's not human right now, it fails. So let's say it can be an orc. I think that sounds like a good next test. So we'll look at the hero race spec and say it can be an orc. If we look at the class spec here, I'm going to go ahead and take this little pattern here. It's a little bit of a premature optimization, but human and orc. These are things it can be. And this will say so what this will do is, hang on a second. I'll leave that comma there. So what this will do is and it will iterate over all this array of things, and then each array item will be accessible here as a variable. So the $A or the %A will pull the string out of there, and then I can make those arguments in this function. And so this is race. Oops. Turns out Command D does not do the same thing as Control D. And then it'll loop through both of these and say, hey, try and set it to human. Yeah, that's okay. Try and set it to orc. No, that's not all right. That's going to be what it's doing. It says orc is not a race. That's not true. Now, making this pass is super easy because we've kind of laid all the plumbing for it. In the validator, we just add orc. And then it still fails. Oh, that's because I have a mistake in my test here. It's not supposed to be %A, %S. And then that should. That should work, shouldn't it? I don't understand why that's not working. Expected orc received human. That is because my setter, actually, I didn't implement my setter because it wasn't time yet. So, yeah, the validation happens, but the setting doesn't happen. So this _race, again, my tests are telling me the code I need to write that I didn't write earlier. There we go. Okay, that passes. Cool. You'd be proud of me. I'm actually drinking name brand soda for a change. Usually it's a generic fill in the blank soda pop, but today it's Diet A&W root beer. I hear A&W root beer has that frosty mug taste. Other root beers are, of course, available. Cool. So we got it. We can be an orc. Hooray! So what do orcs do? Orcs are strong, and they're dumb, and they're foolish, and they're, I guess, boorish would be ways to describe them. But they have a +2 bonus to their armor class. So this one is easy. This one is where we need to figure out what the heck we're doing. So let's do the what the heck we're doing one first. So on hero, actually, let's commit some code. Get status. Added races can be an orc. There we go. Now we can go to we don't really have ability. We have an ability spec that tests ability itself, but we don't have a hero ability spec that tests the hero's abilities because we really haven't needed to do that yet. They've just gotten tested along the way. So it sounds like we need a new file. New file, hero ability spec.js. I'm just going to go ahead and copy a bunch of stuff here, just so I have the boilerplate because I don't want to retype it all. It requires the hero, describe hero, let subject, get the new subject, describe, strength. Actually, no. Describe when an orc. When you're an orc, and so here in before each, we're going to make them an orc. Dot race equals orc. And then their strength actually, I think we just do a simple it is extra strong. Where'd my there we go. I keep hitting the wrong keys. So we'll say I guess it would be, I don't know, what's a good test here? Expect subject dot strength dot modifier dot 2 be +2. Don't normally put the +2 on numbers like that, but because it's semantically how it's represented in D&D, I'm going to put the plus in there. It adds +2 to its strength modifier. So that means it's a +2 stock. And then I'm going to add some more just to kind of test around the edges here. But one implementation is going to make them all pass. Well, actually, I can make it. I can do the minimum here. I can do the minimum. So here's our ability spec. And where is our here's our ability, and here's our hero. So these need to be told what they are and who they report to. So we're going to tell this guy that it is strength. I've been uppercasing everything else, so I'll uppercase this too. And then we'll give it a value of this. And I know I'm going to need these for the rest of these things, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Dexterity. Constitution. And wisdom. There we go. And then when we go into ability, these can take what would we call this? The type, yeah, I guess the type for now. And then the hero. We say this dot underscore type equals type. This dot underscore hero equals hero, and the score is 10. Still failing, but failing for the expected 2 got 0. So now I can put in a rule here when we get the score, or when we get the modifier, and say if I could cheat here and say if I could ignore type. I think I'm going to do that. I can say if hero this dot underscore hero dot race is an orc, then return we'll say let modifier equal that. Add 2 to that, and then return modifier. That'll make it pass. But, that was supposed to make it pass. It did not make it pass. Okay, so saying this dot underscore dot hero dot race. This dot underscore hero is undefined. I defined it right up here. Oh, so the ability spec here creates new abilities. So this is going to be, we'll just give this a value of whatever, something, and a value of new hero. There we go. Now they pass. Okay, now I've lost my place. So the problem here, of course, is I've just given orcs a +2 to everything, right? So I need to fix that. So how do I go about doing that? Go to hero. Well, I mean, my first instinct is to go look at the code and say, how do I fix this? No, that's not the first instinct that I should have. My first instinct should be, hey, let's write another test. And I just realized, actually, I've implemented more code than I need to make this test pass. So I'm going to go back to ability and fix that. Because I don't need to say, what I need to do is say return +2. Otherwise, return that calculation. That should still pass, because all I've tested is the orcs always have a +2. I need a richer test. I need to test more than just that the orcs always have a +2. I need to validate that orcs have a +2 on top of what they would normally have. So if we go to hero ability spec for an orc, adds +2 to its strength modifier. adds, that's plural. Adds +2 to strength modifier when strong. So we can say subject, we can set this, we can make the subject strong, so their strength, right? Dot score. And let's make that equal to 14. That would be a +2 already, and so this should then add up to a +4. That will fail. And then when we go to ability, we can bring back the functionality that we had here before. There we go. I didn't hit Command Z or Control Z enough times. There we go. So I'm trying to be really, really slow and incremental very deliberately here. And mostly because Norman's watching. I assume he's still watching. Go back to the hero ability spec. Let's do it adds +2 to strength when weak as well. I think that's a just to round it out, make sure to fully I don't know. It's like every test needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is kind of me testing both ends of this. I know this will pass because I know I did things to make it pass. But I want to... I spelled weak wrong. There we go. Possibly, Bun Dumpling. Possibly. In this particular case, in the tests, I'm okay with having some magic numbers because I'm kind of saying, hey, it adds a +2. And I'm trying not to do any mocking. I'm trying to do this in a mockless fashion. In the implementation, maybe. It really depends. So right now I've got it in one place. And so I don't feel that I need to pull it out into a magic number, out into a constant yet. Yeah, yeah, the project gets huge, doesn't it? I don't feel the need. I don't have. It's not duplication yet, right? But it may make sense at some point to say have up here and say you know const orc strength mod equals +2, right? So we may get there. We'll see. I'll let the code that we have guide me there. What I try not to do is have a constant that is shared between test and code, because that will bite you in the ass. Because if your constant's wrong, then your test just passes and you don't realize it's wrong. And I've made that mistake before, and I make a point not to do that. So yeah, F word. It's gotten kind of big. This is, I think, my you're very welcome, Bun Dumpling. I think this is the 9th episode of the Evercraft Kata, and I've made it into the 3rd iteration where we're finally starting to do races. So it's gotten big. Episodes 1 through 8 are 1 through 7 are on YouTube right now. 8 is uploaded and it will publish on Wednesday. I published the other one yesterday. I didn't want to publish them back to back. Hopefully I'll get this one downloaded when we're done streaming tonight, and then I'll get it edited and stuff tonight, and I'll set it to be published probably Friday or Saturday. But not everyone can always catch the episodes. Thank you, Bun Dumpling, for the follow. Much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated. Yeah. So right now I don't feel like I need to add a plus. Don't feel like I need a constant yet, but we may get there. What I kind of don't like is this ability class is going to have a crap ton of rules in it about all the modifiers, and so you're going to have this big pile of if statements that says if they're an orc and this is strength, because that's what I need to do next, then add a +2, and if this is an orc and it's wisdom, then subtract 1, and if it's an orc, and you end up with this huge matrix, which is very data driven. And so maybe what I'll end up doing is creating some sort of like table of data here in the ability that then it can tear through to figure out what the modifier is. I've done that with other things like attack modifiers and damage and stuff like that. So that would be an appropriate way to handle this. And I think if I get there, it may not be too bad. So I said I don't like this, and then I talked myself into liking it. That's actually, I have a good friend of mine told me really great advice. This is good life advice, honestly. He said, when you're dealing with an introvert, you should listen to the first thing they say, because they've thought about it and then they spoke. And when you're dealing with an extrovert, that'd be me, you should listen to the last thing I say, because I've just thought about it in front of you. So I've just thought my way through that in front of you, came to a conclusion. So what I need next is another test. And so I've got too many files open here. Let's close ability spec and here race and alignments. And in fact, let's close all these, close others, and then we'll open up ability. And then we'll just, because these are the only two files we're messing with, right? So when an orc adds +2 to the strength modifier, adds +2 strength modifier when strong, adds +2 strength modifier when weak. Whether it's hefty, 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 or wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Okay, so orcs also add -1 to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma modifiers. So let's do those. I guess it adds -1 to its intelligence. Which one did I put first? Yeah, intelligence. How do you spell intelligence? I-G-N-C-E. English is hard. And then I'm just going to go ahead and kind of run out the rest of these tests. When smart. So there's a very obvious bit of duplication that I'm running into here that I think will be the next thing I refactor out. So -1 to its intelligence modifier. Adds -1 to its intelligence modifier when smart. So that would be a +2, which takes us up to a +1. Adds -1 to its strength intelligence modifier when dull. So that would be -2. For an orc, that would be a -3. Now, all three of these tests are going to fail. Yep. Let's go into ability here. Because it's going to say, it's going to add +2 instead. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So we expected it to be a -1. Oh, wait. Oh. No, this fails for a completely different reason. I haven't added intelligence to the heroes yet. My heroes have no intelligence. Let's fix that. Go to the hero. Int. Intelligence. And then add that here. Huh, intelligence, constitution, exactly the same number of letters. Now these are failing for a better reason, which is it expected -3, got 0. So it added +2 instead of subtracting 1. Because orcs get +2 to everything right now. So if this.hero.race equals orc, and this dot underscore type equals strength, that should change our error message, because now it's just not modifying them. At least I think that's what it's doing. Expected -3, receive 0. It's still doing what I... Oh, my tests are broken. My tests are wrong. And this is what always happens, right? Copy pasta. There we go. These are the little moments when you think, I'm an idiot. Now is it failing for the right reason? Yes, it is. Expected 1 got 2. Expected -1 got 0. So it's not checking for intelligence at all. So the easiest thing we could do, see if this here is orc and type equals intelligence. And then that would be minus equals 1. That should pass. And it doesn't. Why doesn't it? Because my tests are again wrong. We'll get there. We'll get there. I swear I've programmed before. There we go. Now they're passing. Okay, so, and then this is going to be intelligence and wisdom and charisma are all going to have the same rule. I've got two things that are noodling in my brain. One is that I've got a crap ton of redundancy in this test, right? And the other is that I've got some obvious redundancy coming here as well. And so the question is which redundancy do I want to address first? I think I want to do the test first. Because I really like to have a third instance of this before I refactor it. But I've got plenty of duplicated instances or very similar instances here. So let's do something similar to what we did with the attack damage spec, where we can say describe for paladin. We can say describe for orc, and then we can give it a whole series of it rules along these sorts of lines. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm pausing here to think. Sometimes I actually do that. We'll say race. We'll pass an orc. And we'll say ability is, start with strength. Now we'll just leave ability set to nothing. And yeah, we'll just do that. And we'll give it a score. The score will default to 10, and the modifier will default to 0. There we go. That's how we'll do it. And then in here, we'll pass in the defaults, and then we'll have ability. This will make sense in a minute. It's going to be strength. Do strength like that. And then we'll have the modifier. This will be the expected modifier. So we expect that to be a +2. So this is doing this test here. So we say it adds +2 strength. quote there. We'll go ahead and get rid of the rest of these for now. And we'll say validate ability modifier. Pass in the data. And then down in here, we've got this little validate function. The same pattern. It's right down here. Validate ability modifier. You don't have a defender, we don't care. We'll leave that alone for now. We'll say subject race equals data.race. We don't need that anymore because we're doing that on line 19. So we don't need to set the race in the before each because we're going to do that as part of our data that's passing here. And then we'll set the strength score. We'll set the ability based on ability dot score equal to data dot, need to pass in the score. Actually, we don't need to do that because it's already it's already 10 because it inherits it from the defaults up here. So that works. And we can expect subject dot strength dot modifier, subject dot ability modifier to be the modifier. And so that should cover that test there. And then, did I just have a bunch of tests not pass? I've got a parsing error in my code. Need a comma there. There we go. I actually expect some failures here. I've got too many curly braces now. Okay. So we got 6 failures here, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be these 6 right here. No, that's... Let's take a look at our failures here. Oh. So data.ability and data.ability. I got 6 errors, and that meant my test that I started with was failing too, the one I just refactored. And wasn't expecting that one to fail. There we go. Now we're where we're supposed to be. So, yeah, so we got a scenario here that we've defined. And we pass in the ability we want and the modifier we expect. We can override the score if we want, which is going to be the next thing. And so we can migrate all these tests up into here, and we just have to specify the bits that are different. So let's do that. So X that out. Get the defaults in there. Ability is strength. Score is 14. Expected modifier is +4. Get rid of our dead code here. And now we should have 4 failing tests. And we do. Hooray! And so now we can do the same thing when they're weak. We'll make that a 6, which will take us up to a 0. It's working! It's working! Okay. Let's go ahead and just... put the rest of these guys up here. See if I can do this with cleverness. Oops. Okay, we don't need that. We need a curly brace. Defaults. Ability of strength. No. Intelligence. Yeah. And here the modifier should be -1, because out of the box, orcs are dumb when they're smart. Then we set their score to be 14, and the modifier, I don't know why this is trying to help out by putting things on top of where I'm typing, but it's not helping out. And that should be a +1. Okay, there's that. We can just copy pasta that. And then we want to score 6 and a modifier of -3. Is that everything? That closes that block off there. There's our little helper function. That should all pass. I need to fix my alignment a little bit here, but it should all pass. There we go. That is a much more easily modifiable test. And so, huzzah! Okay, so now we can just duplicate this for wisdom. And charisma. He's got charisma. And we should have 6 failing tests, and we do. And now we can go into ability and duplicate this rule here and just replace this intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. We should have 3 failing tests now because wisdom has been added, but charisma has not. And I'm going to be saying charisma all night now. I'm going to have to watch the David Lee Roth video. If anyone here remembers that, David Lee Roth back in the 80s when he broke away from Van Halen, and then Van Halen became Van Hagar. He had that Just a Gigolo song, and it starts out with, "He's got charisma," in a cheesy Hollywood voice, which I did not do a good job of imitating. Let's go to the hero and add that charisma. The cha. Stands for charisma, not chair-faced Chippendale. For those Tick fans out there. Cha. There. So that now we should have 3 more passing tests. And we do. We're at lucky 200. Hooray! Okay. So Orcs can like do stuff. But we've got like this really, really duplicated code here that I'm not super... it doesn't look terrible, honestly. I mean, it's really clear what it does. But it's obviously something that could be data-driven. So let's make it data-driven. See, how do you want to make it data-driven? I think we could do const refactor the tests from well, I mean, I've already refactored the tests. Now I want to refactor the code. So maybe I'm not clear what you're asking. I could get away with doing that maybe in the here. What I've done is I've got to describe for the orc, and then the each is looping here. But I could, and I'm tempted to nest it again with the strength and the intelligence, the wisdom, and the charisma, and then hit all 6 abilities just to make sure we don't add things. It's really tempting. Although, yeah, that is tempting. But I think this is a happy balance between those two, because this is really readable. I'm going to postpone that decision because you've made me think about it, Bun Dumpling, and but this is sufficiently readable. It's not super ridiculously long, and if we look at the requirements here, I think Orcs have the most modifiers, right? Dwarves have a +1 to Constitution and a -1 to Charisma, and then some other things. So the rest of them just have 2 abilities, and so it won't be quite as long. Got some fun rules in here, though. Halflings have a +2 to armor class when being attacked by non-halflings because they're small and hard to hit. Most of the plumbing is actually there for that rule, so that shouldn't be too bad. But the one that's going to be really interesting is for the dwarf, doubles the Constitution modifier when adding to hit points per level if positive. I think that'll be a particularly interesting rule. So, but let's get back into ability here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a const up here. It's going to be the ability modifiers, I guess, for lack of a better name. And then we'll specify a race. So we have orc, and we'll have human. These are the 2 races we have at the moment. And then I think it's just going to be a matter of strength. Okay, I'm going to do something here because I'm tired of typing these ability scores. Before we go any further down this path, I am going to change the hero so that this is strength, dex. I like how the full words look, but I'm just tired of typing them. There we go. That's going to break everything. There we go. And now they're all passing again. Just because I'm tired of typing those constantly. So strength is 0. Wrong keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to put in a const default modifiers. I just say defaults, and that will be strength :0, dex :0, con :0, intelligence :0, wisdom :0, and charisma :0. And then in here I can say defaults. Get all three of those dots. There we go. And then here I can say defaults, and then strength +2, intelligence -1, wisdom -1, charisma -1. And I missed a comma. So those are still passing. I haven't actually changed anything. And so now what I can do is I can say, here's my modifier. Here's my computed modifier. And then I can just, actually I can just do this. I can do return. I can just return it. I can compute it in line. Math.floor plus, not ret run, return plus ability modifiers. This dot underscore hero dot race, and this dot underscore type. And that should do exactly the same thing. Clearly. It totally did not do exactly the same thing. Let's see what the errors are. We got not a number. And that was not what I was expecting. That's not what I was expecting at all. Ruh-roh, Raggy. I'm pinching my beard in nervousness. Oh my god, everyone on the internet's going to realize that guy's actually an idiot. If you haven't figured that out already. So something in here is not a number, and it's messing up the addition here. So we go to ability modifiers, and we've got human and orc. What tests are failing? Ah. Aha. This is in ability spec because I didn't pass in a valid race. So let's make it human. Because it was looking up something. No, not human. Strength. There we go. So I made it something, which was, there's no ability called something, and then it was in here. It then proceeded to go into ability modifiers, look for something, not find it, get undefined, and then vomit all over me. So +2 to perceived wisdom. Yeah, it does make me look smarter, doesn't it? That's what I tell my boss. It's like, the beard is just, it gives me my brand, right, is that of the wizened geek. There was a time when it wasn't gray. You can see it if you look on the stream in the bottom left corner there. My hair used to be brown, and my beard was just white in the middle, and it was a little bit shorter. But entropy is a bitch, right? it's gray, but that's okay. I kind of like it. Just makes me look like an old dwarf. So this is totally working. So now when I go to do the other ability scores for all the other races, I just have to modify the stuff, right? I just have to modify these values here, and I only have to put in the ones that change. So when it comes time to do, say, elf or dwarf, I just make the distinction between Constitution and Charisma, and everything else is the same. So dwarf's just going to look like this, right? And they got a con of +1 and a charisma of -1, and boom, ability scores for dwarfs done, right? That's all we'll have to do to make that work. So that is a good thing. I'm actually tempted to tear ahead and do the other ability scores. Hey, Geeky Girl Sarah is raiding with a party of 12. Thank you. I'm just glad you're streaming, Sarah. I hadn't actually. Oh, Corey, why did you get? Did you offend the Nightbot? How the hell are you, Corey? It's been a long time since I've seen you. Oh, it was the all caps. I gotcha. Yeah, I tried tweaking the setting on Nightbot to make it a little less aggressive, and it just kind of it's disagreeing with me. I don't know. Well, I'm still learning. So, but yeah. So, Corey, I'm doing your favorite exercise of all. I'm doing the Evercraft Kata. So, in JavaScript, which is my favorite language on most days. And I've been. This is like the 9th episode that I've done this. For those who are just joining the raid, joining the stream, where I've actually made it all the way into races. I've got humans working, which they're the default, so that's easy. And I've just gotten ability modifiers for orcs, and I need to add armor class for orcs. But I've got all the plumbing in place to make adding ability modifiers based on character species to be easier, very easy. And so I'm tempted to go through and just add them all, but I should do it in order. But yeah, so for those who are just joining, this is the Evercraft Kata. It's something that George Walters and I put together about a decade ago. And the idea is that we have a company called the Blizzards of the Coast, and we want to build a massive multiplayer online RPG called Evercraft. And we think this will make us a lot of money because no one's ever done this before. And so we're, we've been, I mean, George and I put this together like a decade ago, and we've given workshops on it for about as long. Just basic TDD workshop on a fun project. And so we got all these requirements for core capabilities, adding classes. We got all those working. We just got started on races tonight, and it's going pretty well. I've only been an idiot half the stream, so that's a plus, right? So, so yeah. I lost, it looks like I lost some of my data on my, oh, no I didn't. Here we go. There it is. Like, it is a really fun exercise. So let's do the Orcish armor class bonus. Well, actually, let's commit our code. I've made enough changes I feel like I need to commit. Orcish ability modifiers. There we go. Push that up to Git. Corey, you should join me on my stream. Actually, Sarah, I still need to get you on my stream too. I need to like get guests on the stream, don't I? So, armor class. So here, hero armor class spec. Yeah, it would be a lot of. We could do the Evercraft Kata. Oh, I'll have to give you a follow when I'm done streaming there, Corey. JavaScript is a fun language, or we don't want to do it in Prolog. I'm entertaining the thought of doing some WebAssembly on stream, like at the low-level WebAssembly text format language. Oh, do it in a fun language, yeah. Well, WebAssembly text format's fun if you like going all the way down to the bare metal and not even having what strings are defined are. That could be a fun challenge. Actually, Evercraft would be really, I think, really hard. But I'm thinking for my next project of doing a simple video game like Space Invaders or something in WebAssembly text format. Because if I try to do Evercraft, it will take me 3 years. And you know, it's like, what do we do today? Well, today we're building string libraries. Yeah. So, armor class defaults to 10 when hero is wise and zippy monk. When attacker is rogue and hero is sluggish. Let's do we need to add another one of these. Say when defender is an orc, +2 is added. We got the attacker race, the orc. All these other things can be defaulted. And then up here, you need to add attacker race, which should default to human. No, defender race. Did that wrong. Defender race is an orc. We expect the armor class to be 12. And then we need let's do make. Let's add that make race thing that I was talking about doing before. Data.defender race. That's not going to work because it doesn't exist. My tests are over here not running. But I've got a little global helper that I can put these little helper functions in. I've got it over here somewhere. It's called Spec helper. Global.make race equals hero, comma, race. And then it's just hero.race equals race. That's all that does. It's a handy little function to set the race, set the class, set the level. And everything is still dying. Saying undefined is not a race. Defender race is human. Looks like it's correct. Saying undefined is not a race, but it shouldn't be undefined. I'm sure moving this line of code will totally change everything. So why is that failing? I got my little global make race. It takes subject, it takes a string, data.defender race. I've got it up here in the defaults. Do I have a typo? Did I spell something wrong? Oh, hey, Sirelash, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Saying undefined is not a class. What did I break? I broke a thing. I didn't mean to break a thing. Armor class spec, yeah, that's the one that's failing. If I comment that out, does the error go away? Let me clear my history out to make it a little easier to see. Oh, hey, there's a lot of people here. Oh, and the specific ones you don't have it defined, line 43. Yeah, it's using defaults exactly, yeah. Twitch broke your ad blocker. The JavaScript's confusing. You know, I like JavaScript. I kind of miss the old days of JavaScript before they added classes and everything. I liked it when it was a smaller language. It was like playing Go. Like Go is a really simple rules, has really simple rules, but creates this really rich and complex behavior. And early JavaScript kind of works like that. And I suppose that's really the kind of the draw for languages like Lisp as well, because they got really actually very simple rules, but you can create this really elaborate, complex behavior that unfolds as you code. And JavaScript kind of has those qualities to it. That's what I like about JavaScript. Yeah, exactly, CTI Geek. I'm assuming you're agreeing with my statement and not Corey's statement. I'm going to keep believing that. Let's run my tests here. See if I can get a better... And let's embiggen my output so I can see everything. Undefined is not a class. Okay. Got an attacker class and a defender class and a defender race. They're all there in the defaults. That doesn't make any sense. No. Let's just keep deleting things until things start passing again. I'm laughing at both CTI Geek and Sirelash. Yeah. He is an excellent host for Lightning Talks. I must have... Did I break something more stupid? Because I've like removed all the changes I made, and it's still failing. There's defaults there. Oh, god damn it. Comma. Thanks for the follow, Corey. Appreciate it. You followed just in time as I found the stupid error, right? And thank you for the follow as well, CTI Geek. This should still fail, but we're at least setting the race. I'm going to go ahead and, once I get this passing, I need to remember to call make race in the ability. I think it's in the ability spec as well. Is it here? Yeah. I'm just going to do it now while I'm thinking of it. Lest it fall out of my head. And that's why you don't test changes to other tests when... 5 hours. God damn, Sarah. What the hell are you doing? Well, thank you very much. You go get some food and some rest. Jeez. Yeah, you're right. That's what I did. It's data.race. But that is totally why you don't make these changes when you're in the middle of doing other things. There we go. Back to one failure, where we belong. Oh man, I gotta. Nightbot is a pain in the ass. I need to like, really tone it down. Yeah, maybe I'll just turn the moderation off. Okay, so we got the one failure. We got the failure we want, right? So the armor class, it's expecting 12, got 10 because there is no rule for orcs having tough skin. So we'll go into the armor class here. And this is the function that computes the value and returns base AC plus the dexterity modifier. And we've got a couple other rules here. If the attacker class is a rogue, this is actually kind of gnarly. I know I can make it work with one more if. It's just one more if. Yeah, you're right, Cyrilash. I really don't need the moderation things. I should just turn them off. I mean, I'm using it for other things as well, but you're right, and I need to get rid of it. That sounds like a lot of work, Sarah. Make it work, then make it right. Exactly, Corey. Exactly. If this dot race is orc, return base AC plus this dot dexterity modifier. Actually, I don't even have any code saying to do that. I could literally do this and make it pass. Oh wait, I need to add the get race. This dot underscore hero dot race. Just a little nicey nice. That passes. It's also terrible. The problem here is I've got a lot of permutations that affect armor class. So like if we look at armor class, we've got monks who add their wisdom in addition to their dexterity, and we've got rogues that will ignore your dexterity, and when you have monks, I don't remember which we implemented here. When attacker is a rogue and the hero is a foolish and zippy monk, is a wise and zippy monk. There we go. So we got a monk that's fast, and so that should give a +2/+2. Yeah, so the rogue's ability negates the wisdom bonus as well. And so we've got this, if you're a rogue, negate the bonuses for wisdom and dexterity, but wisdom only if you're a monk. And then if you're an orc, add +2. It's kind of squirrely here, right? It's kind of complicated. And I don't have enough tests to really feel like I could refactor it to something good. But in order to get enough tests, I need to say when they're an orc and they have a dex bonus, and they so if you have an orcish monk against a rogue, all right, and then all the permutations of that. I thought doing the abilities would be the hard part, and adding the armor class to the orc would be easy. But it's actually the other way around. Adding the abilities was pretty easy, and getting the armor class to the orc to be +2 is turning out to be kind of a pain in the butt to have a thorough set of tests covering all the permutations. So I'm not sure how I want to. That makes me want to look at my tests and say these tests are just convoluted. Is what it makes me do. So yeah. Sorry, I was just catching up on chat there, and I realized y'all are talking to each other, which is great. So and so you end up with these. This is the thing that always gets me is you end up with these multidimensional matrices, right? In AI terms, we call them tensors, but tensors are really something else. That make the tests kind of hard to. It makes writing all the permutations difficult. And normally when I run into this problem of permutation, the answer is hierarchy, right? If I've got too much permutation, then I need to subdivide my class. And then test the pieces, and then just test their interactions, right? But in this case, that's not really easy to do. Because they're just super interrelated. There's no good seams because you can be all of these things. You can be a rogue. You can be a rogue attacking a monk orc who could have a high dexterity and a high wisdom and all those permutations. So we got permutations around dexterity, around wisdom, around class, around race, and around attacking class. And so we got 5 permutations, which means this is a 5-dimensional structure. Yuck. And the way it almost makes me want to call the stream for the night and deal with this tomorrow. Deal with this on another day. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead and let's just start writing out the tests. So I need more tests. So we need to say when the defender is an orc, comma, when the defender is a zippy orc, +2 is still added. And we'll give him a dexterity of 14. Makes the arm class a 14. And when defender is a sluggish orc, +2 is still added. That will give us a 10. So let's make one of these pass. Close some of these other windows down. Too many windows open. Too many tabs. I don't know how those folks of you out there that have like 45 tabs open inside of Chrome or Firefox or whatever browser you use live your life. I don't know how you do it. My beard, I don't know. I haven't really measured it in a while, but I do have a ruler. So let's find out, shall we? I'm going to go from the tip of my chin, for my chinny chin. And I got 8 inches. So that'd be, for those of you in the, not in America, not in the United States, 8 inches would be what? Oh, let's just measure it in centimeters. Screw it. Says 27 centimeters. So there we go. So we've got it in metric and in freedom units. Yeah, it's long enough to you can probably see all of it now. I can't look in the little hexagon and well, here, we'll just solve that problem. There we go. That's the full beard. So okay. So looks like what we need to do is, for now, that passes. So I think I got a bit here that I could start refactoring a little bit. I think maybe I say let armor let AC equal 10 equal base AC plus this plus dot dexterity mod. So that goes to base AC. If the attacker class is a rogue, AC equals AC plus negative dexterity modifier. And then if this that class.monk, AC equals AC plus, so this is plus equals. Positive wisdom modifier. So we've added the dex, we've added the wisdom. That's not right. Hang on. Undo all this, undo it all. Not there yet. Let's get the let's get more tests in. I'm not comfortable doing this. Happy to. So how old's your daughter, if you don't mind sharing a CTI Geek? Because is she of the age that Santa Claus is a thing? Okay. Okay, so she's past the Santa Claus thing. Because I used to be a Cub Scout leader, and what I would tell the Cub Scouts, and I would tell them, they would say something about my beard, and I say, yeah, you know how like Batman has a secret identity? You know, well, Santa Claus has a secret identity too. It was just fun. And they'd look at me like I was an idiot, but you know. Because that's what kids do when you say things like that. That's the joy in dad jokes, right? Is that your kids roll their eyes at you. It's great. I have been Santa a couple times, but honestly not recently. But it is my plan for retirement. When I retire, I'm going to be Santa Claus. I'm going to be the mall Santa. I figure it's a little extra income around the holidays, and I can be. It's like I can get paid for how I look and show up drunk. What more can you ask for, right? it's like working in Hollywood, right? But I am, I should do Santa more. It's fun. I haven't done it in a very, very long time. I wasn't gray the last time I was Santa Claus. I was fat, but I wasn't gray. An office party a few years back, they had a Santa suit and they wanted me to be Santa Claus. And perhaps the most ironic thing of all is that the Santa suit was too small and it didn't fit me. It's like, if all the things you'd think would come in like a multiple, you know, like a extra large size, it would be Santa suits, right? No, that wasn't the case. Didn't fit me. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I think retiring as Santa Claus is going to be. I think that'll be a lot of fun. That way you can have crying, screaming kids who are terrified of the weird man with the beard. And why does mom want to get the photo with him? Okay, so we got the orc. I want to say when the defender is an orc, when the attacker is the rogue, and the hero, when the attacker is a rogue and the hero, we'll go with defender, is an orc, +2 is still added. And then when all these permutations, right? Put them in the wrong spot. That's okay. So we got the defender race. We got the attacker class is a rogue. That's rogue, not rouge, right? And I'm going to pull this down to the next line because it's getting hard to read again. There we go. These should just pass, I think. No, it didn't. Oh, yeah. So attacker is a rogue, defender is an orc. It should be a 12 still. This here should be, the deck should be gone. And here the deck should not be gone. It's not passing. I thought it would. Expected 10, received 8. Let's look at the implementation. Okay, yeah, it's not taking orc into account here at all. It doesn't get that far. So this is failing for the correct reason. So, I'm tempted. I'm really, really tempted to call the stream here because it's starting to get a little bit late. I'm streaming for about 2 hours and leave this failing test in place so I have a marker where I want to come in next time. But I think if I'm going to do that, I should add the rest of the permutations. But these permutations are just hideous. This is the part that's bugging me more than anything. I'm not really sure how to tidy them up because there's just so many permutations in this armor class. The rules are complicated. They're hard, right? And this is actually what I built this kata for, right? The whole point of the Evercraft Kata was to try and like do the types of things you do in your day job when you're test driving, right? How do we test drive these complex business rules? And so this is one of those particularly gnarly ones where you get the intersections of these rules coming together, and hitting all those permutations is really hard. And part of what makes me not want to write all these tests is just because it's messy here. So what that means, as I think out loud through this, is that I need to refactor my tests here to make them cleaner so that I don't not want to go into the bit of code. Because the fact that I don't want to modify this code is a smell that is bad, right? I want to go modify this code because this code's fairly clean, but I keep having to come back to here because this isn't doing what I need it to do yet. But I don't want to touch it because it's messy. And so that means that I need to go in and clean it up. And so I think I need to do something with armor class that was similar to what I did with, say, attack damage, where I started breaking it up and saying for paladin, for monk, for rogue, how do these things modify? It breaks it up a little bit, makes it a little more readable. And so I think that's what I need to do here. So if we look at how attack damage is broken up, describe attack damage, and you got the default scenario here. And then for a monk, this is what it looks like, and for a paladin, this is what it looks like. And the paladin's like, you got some permutations here where versus evil and stuff like that. So I think that's the thing we need here too. So let's do that. Let's define some broader scenarios, some us and thems. So say describe armor class. I'm looking at this attack damage spec and seeing how I did it because I have a describe attack damage. And then for these three classes, there's nothing, they're all the same, so I don't do anything special with them. And for the monk, I do a special thing, so. So let's do describe. This would be I guess for orcs. No. For describe the typical scenario. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible name, right? But we're gonna call it that, and we're gonna see what happens. And we'll put our defaults up here. And the typical scenario is attacker class none, defender class none, defender race is human. So all the defaults, dexterity, wisdom, and armor class are all 10. And then up here, it includes a dexterity modifier. And let's throw in the orc there too. Because I feel like these are all fairly simple scenarios. Like that. Sort of, kind of. There we go. That gets indented. Like that. And then here's our defaults. There's each. Okay, yeah. And these guys can go away because they're part of that larger scenario now. We got this duplicated function down here. Let's make sure everything passes. Let's make sure all except for the 3 that did I? Okay, I lost some tests. Because I got a syntax error in here somewhere, probably. That corresponds to that. Oh. Defaults needs to be up there. That should give me the 3 errors. There we go. We're back to where we were. And then we'll add a little... This guy here can be a function called validate armor class. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Blade Brown. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's the long and short of VS Code. I should probably use something like WebStorm or something, honestly. Okay, and so down here we'll do validate armor class. That's going to take the data. There we go. Oh, that's not a good sign. Unexpected token, line 81. That means I'm missing a curly brace somewhere. Hang on. So that corresponds to that. Okay, so that's something wrong. Ah, What am I hitting that keeps deleting crap? Shift tab. I'm just trying to line up my curly braces here. Where does that one line up to? Oh, it's lining up to that one up there. There's one there. Line 61. It does. That's okay, actually. JavaScript will let you get away with that one. In fact, it's, even though part of me doesn't like it, it works perfectly fine. And it avoids the error that we saw me do earlier, right? Okay, so this guy, and that collapses. Is that how that's supposed to collapse? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to collapse. Okay, this each collapses correctly. Does it collapse correctly? Too many parentheses. Yeah, I don't need this one here because yeah, okay, that's the problem. I think. Something's wrong with my keyboard. It keeps inserting extra characters. I probably needs charged. Yeah, see you later, CTI Geek. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, I haven't done Java in a while, Bun Dumpling. It just doesn't come up much. But so yeah, I hear you though. I enjoy JavaScript more than Java. But the thing that has really been scratching my itch lately is the super low level WebAssembly stuff. It's been so fun. And it's so impractical, but it's just fun, right? But learning it's worthwhile because understanding how the WebAssembly works at that low level is useful when doing WebAssembly in other contexts. So you understand how it works at a lower level, you understand its behavior when it misbehaves in odd ways. And so that's kind of been my jam lately. But I still like JavaScript. I am doing something wrong here, and I'm starting to hit a frustration point because I've just got too many nestings here and it's hard to think about. And so that's causing problems. So here's our describe here. Get a describe and a describe, and then we have some its. That's how that goes. That's why that looks goofy. And then there's our function. Okay, now this is starting to make sense. Okay, let's just tidy this up here. Because it's a thing that I can do. And let's look at those errors. Maybe they're doing what they're supposed to now. Yeah, I think they are doing what they're supposed to now because we got the attackers rogue and the defenders sluggish orc. Let's look at the ones that are failing here. Sluggish orc, rogue orc, Rogue Orc. Sluggish Orc +2 still added. Zippy Orc +2 still added. Orc +2 is added. Can I read property attacker class of undefined? Gotta pass in the data. That'd help. There we go. I am an idiot. Such a bumbling idiot. And on that note, I think I'm going to call the stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and give me a follow. I like having people watch me code. It's kind of nice. I mean, I'll shout into the void as well. But if there are people here chatting with me, that makes it so much more fun. So appreciate it. The real question now is, whom shall we raid? And so I'm gonna take a look over here and see who we should raid. Let me go to just a. There we go. Just go to Guy Cam here, and I'm gonna click the raid channel button. Looks like Chad is still streaming. Let's raid Chad. That sounds like a good plan. I have no idea what he's doing, but he deserves a raid. So, start raid. Thank you much. Thank you for the follow, Bullleaf. Raid now. Okay, here we go. Hang on, Chad. We're coming. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next time.